Hello and welcome to Stephen Allen, Almost Daily. I'm Stephen Allen. This is a day. What more do you flipping want? Welcome along. If you've never tuned in before, this is the live streaming show where we chat through some of the news. There's some news, and we'll opine about some of the things. War in the news. There'll be a lot of war going on. Just a quick update on that, by the way. Last time we did a broadcast previously on the show, Donald Trump said the war was over, that it was very complete, I believe was his way of splitting that particular way of considering completeness. It's still going on, so I guess it wasn't quite complete, unless we've recently redefined what the word complete means, or you've got Trump derangement syndrome. That's how it works these days. We also have the chat, if you'd like to get involved. That means in a cat, doesn't it? Don't do that. This is, if you'd like to get involved in the chat over here, it's good. We've got some of the recent ones I've not seen. Is that, this is Martin saying, is that David Letterman in the background of the thumbnail? Let's have a look to see if it was, because Proper Memes, who's here in the chat, makes the thumbnails. Yes, you're right, that is David Letterman. He's just about to do a top 10. I think he's doing one of those top 10 things. Do you know what? More on that thumbnail in a sec. We'll just do some hellos before we get into it. Martin also says Steve's the new Ayatalan. Steve N. Ayatalan. All right, we'll keep stretching that one. We'll get there. This is a day, says Martin. I'm glad we concur on that. In a world where there is so much disagreement, I'm glad we can all agree that this is a day. I'm sorry I've been absent, says Charlotte. You need to fill me in. Charlotte, I can tell you what's happened since you've been gone. Because last time you were here, I had the ability to play pointless chords in the background, didn't I? That's still happening. And I got the earpiece. Other than that, nothing has happened. I mean, there's been a war. But other than that, in fact, you know what? If you really search, and I couldn't be bothered to find it, but I download all the GB News newspaper review things I do. There's one from the first time the Mandleson story broke, and Patrick Christys was saying, well, this is it. Starmer will be gone. And I said, well, you never know. There might be a war. And yeah, I need to start wishing for Porsches rather than wars, because I could have changed my life quite a lot by now. Pretty much, says Martin. Yep, Seb's here. Hello, Steve. How you doing? I hope you're well. Do you know what I am? Although I will admit, hay fever season has started. So my year so far has been very cold, lost my voice, had another cold, and then just as I start to get what I like to consider to be supreme fitness, but it's not, is it? The hay fever. And you know why? In fact, let's get the swear beat ready. It's because of that magnolia tree across the road. There's a guy who's got a lovely magnolia tree and it beats me every time. While ever that's blossoming, I feel this. I want to go around and kill it, but you can't because it's bigger than me. Are we expecting a doorbell today, says Martin. No, we're not. I think it's all turned off. Steve and Pollen. Oh, don't rub it in even more. Who else have we got here as well? Joodles is here, saying, you are my nemesis now, Proper Memes. She's declared war. There's a lot of that around. And I think we've got everyone else. Martin, Charlotte, Joodles. Right. If you're in, say hello in the chat and we'll plow on through some news. Before we actually do news, Vicky's here. Hello, Vicky. Caught you finally. Woo. Why? What did you know? What did you see pictures of? Oh, you mean caught the show? For a second there, I thought you heard, the lies, not the... Hi-ho, Kermit's here saying, I heard from a little bird that you're funny and handsome in real life. So is it Steve Allen Almost Daily? What? What are you mocking? Don't mock the afflicted. Oh, don't. Speaking of impressions, Friday's Live and Loose, which should be happening. There's another one to add to the spreadsheet. Honestly, tune in on Friday's show. It's going to be a good one. Ems is here. Ems is today's chopped liver. Oh, no, yeah, you're right. I saw earlier on, Ems was boasting that she could write the word hello without assistance from a carer. So well done. It really is. Well, she said something about having a little stroke, which for a second I thought you meant something else. But let's not even get into it. Sounds good. What? Problem means I've already won the war. Oh, like Donald Trump. Like a dog. It's very like, yeah. Are you Trump? Says Joodles. It's very complete. Not just complete. Very complete. Like a dog. Should we get stuck into before we do front pages? We need my breaking news jingle. Breaking news. So, in the world of breaking news, as you saw on today's thumbnail, they have a new look. This is not the breaking news. Iran has a new supreme leader, the new Ayatollah. I was going to bother to learn to pronounce it, but it turns out I might not do because he's in a coma and has already lost at least one leg. Some reports saying maybe 2 legs. Some reports saying maybe 3 legs. Those reports as yet unconfirmed. So I don't think I'll get attached. You know what I mean? The new Iranian supreme leader is reportedly in intensive care after an attack. And also he's not woken up. I love this bit. He is not aware he was even elected as supreme leader. Because when I saw that bit first, when the news alert popped up saying like the new supreme leader doesn't know they're it yet, I thought it's like one of those days when the lottery results have been announced and you don't know if it could be you. When they were announcing who would get to take over as the supreme leader in Iran, I just thought it was going to be me, because it is yet again another one of those stories where everyone thought I would be the replacement and it went to someone else. And it has not gone well since. Hey, oh, cheeky. How's headliners doing? So look, M's got a hot take on this one. How's legs certainly aren't attached. Yes, I suppose you still got the legs. Joodle says they appointed the Isle of Man. You'd never know. At this stage, we all thought it was going to be me, and it might go to the Isle of Man. No wonder he's kept quiet over the years. Well, that's true. And the new leader has a show on Channel 4 Friday nights already called The Last Leg. Proper memes. Too soon, he says, fully aware of what's coming up in today's show. If you don't like proper memes jokes, you're not going to enjoy. You're not a salmon. You're not going to enjoy the rest of it. Let's have a look. Steve for Supreme Leader, Chris Hood. Yes, exactly. I stand in sometimes when he's not available, but I'll never get the full gig. The Supreme Dealer and something's afoot, says Martin. Well, that's why you're not hired by the regime. There'd be you, picking up the pieces, going like, his foot's over there, his knees over there, his hips over there. Well, that's just him all over. All right, so that's that breaking news, but I suppose we should do front pages. Front pages. Let's take a look at today's front pages. It's all going to be on one topic, but we can mention a little bit about the war. Iran, we can push up oil to £200 a barrel. I don't really know what that means, but it's not good, is it? There's never a good petrol story. Last time on the show, I was boasting about the fact that my 2 cars were full and efficient, because people say that a car in some ways is a extension. And if that is the case, I don't know what driving a 63 plate Toyota Aygo means. Or it might be a 62. I never memorize these things. It's a nightmare when I try and park. But when I say it's a nightmare when I try and park, I'm talking about the car, not the penis. Well, that got confusing, didn't it? PM flouted Mandleson warnings is flouted, not flouted. They're probably different. PM flouted. He flouted it is what he did, the Mandleson warnings. He was given warnings, and you know what? He thought, I'm going to flout this. Because the shocking result from what people are calling around the GB News office as the Peter files, which made me laugh like a dragon. We were told not to say that on air. Come on, it's good, though. That he was given the heads up that there's something might be a bit dodge about Peter Mandleson. Good God, how did they know this? They must have been clairvoyants, some sort of mind readers, some sort of in touch with the other side. Or he's been known as the Dark Knight Prince, whatever he's called for it, and the Dark Knight's Batman. He's been known as the Dark Prince for a good long while. Yeah. My hot take on this is always that everyone knew how dodgy he was, and he was exactly the right kind of dodgy they needed for the Trump mission. I envisaged it like one of those scenes in a film where they were saying, we need a man like you on this mission, but if it all goes wrong, the British government will deny any responsibility. And they thought they could, but turns out there's loads of files. Some absolute dickwad wrote it down. And now there's loads of trouble. But if you were told that the person you're about to hire was close friends with international paedophile financier Jeffrey Epstein and stayed in his house when he was in prison for doing the paedophiling, you'd think this is too much of a risk, isn't it? Reputational damage is one thing. Whoopsie, that's reputational damage. But oh yeah, we hired the guy he didn't want an Airbnb. No, he went around and did trying to think of a pun about Airbnb to do with kids. Let's not. And he went around there. If you stayed in a convicted paedophile's house when they were in prison for paedophiling, you would not log on to their Wi-Fi. It's my strongest point. You do not want your MAC address and the IP address to ever have history of each other, do they? You just imagine the police come round, kick down the door, pull out the drawers, and there's whatever they keep in the drawers, and you're like, I was staying here for the wrong uns, the lot of them. £500,000, £500,000 to walk away. Can I just say, before I criticise Peter Mandleson for this, it's a Kofi angle. If someone wants to Kofi me £500,000, I promise to never do any more shows. I will walk away. I will not bother you if you drop half a cool mil into the Kofi. Just saying that out loud. Mandleson demanded £500,000 payoff. It's quite cheeky, isn't it, to cause the third reason your career has to end in scandal. First one, dodgy loan. Second one, dodgy passport. Third one, dodgy staying over with a paedophile. It's quite dodgy. There's a good array of dodge is what's been going on there. And he's like, well, looks like I better get paid £500,000. It's going to be hard for me to get a job after this. Firstly, aren't you old enough to be already retired? Secondly, no, they don't even need to be a secondly. It's your own flipping fault. Nearly got paid £500,000 for it. The Star's way of handling this story is the headline Golden Manshake. Good. People around the office didn't get this yesterday, but because of Golden Handshake, payoff for leaving, Mandleson, Golden Manshake. Good, but I would have said crafty man job. Because we're different people, aren't we? And I do not have a job working for the Star. Starmer ignored top aides, blah, blah, blah. Right, we've done it. We've done that one. We've got a couple of extra stories before we have a little chit-chat in the chit-chat. There are some lovely stories about health. Although before we do that, we should just zoom in on this one. Because we talked about this last night on the TV. I didn't get my full rant. The Iran crisis is a wake-up call for Ed Miliband that should prompt him to rethink his approach to the North Sea, says Sir Jim Ratcliffe, going back in for another one, see if he can upset people. But on this one, he's kind of right. If you think the future is eco and renewables and all that stuff, you can think that and also think where we are right now isn't quite ready for it. It's like thinking, in the future, I think there'll be teleportation. But if you tax the backside off everyone to try and fund the research into it, you're never going to get there. You'll bankrupt the country before we get teleportation, right? The same is true. I know I work with loads of people who think all this eco-lark is nonsense and oil's the best thing ever. Of course it's not. If you found a time-travelling machine and went 1,000 years in the future, do you genuinely think you'd get to 1,000 years in the future and people would still be exploding the essence of dinosaur in a small combustion engine to get around? Come off it. No. It would all be solar. The sun beams energy at us. We will find a way of collecting that energy better and better. And that's going to be the future. But we're not going to get there by taxing the backside off everyone first. Job done. Look how we have this argument on TV, and then the next day I finish my argument here so that no one can follow up. Meanwhile, we almost talked about this story last night, prostate screening story. Prostate cancer screening saves many more lives than early studies suggest. And everyone around the office was saying this is really good news. I mean, it kind of is, but it's also terrible news. The research said it wouldn't save lives, so the government decided to not have a screening program for men, and now we've found out it is good. Can we revisit the not having a screening thing for men? Because it feels like your reason to not do it was, well, it's not going to save that many lives. 4 times as many as the not many you thought it was going to save. And look, I know Joodles has seen me do stand-up now, and I know I love a good old joke about a prostate test, the old school way. It's not even that. It's a blood test these days. That's, in your mind's eye, you think a prostate exam is, but it's not. It's a blood test. And the last time I had one, the doctor said, it's just a little prick. And I said, I'd prefer it if you used your finger. But then we all got confused and we had a great time. Is that what that story's about? Just for balance, there's also a story for the ladies. Ladies. A daily pill could help 500,000 women who suffer hot flushes but can't take hormone replacement therapy. This is a drug that stops the nerve passing on the information that you're having a hot flush. You won't feel it. And again, everyone was saying this is great news. You found a way to cure the hot flush but keep the mood swings. No, I just... more work needed. So that's it. You're up to date with all that. Let's see what's going on in the chats. Chris Hood says, was it the pink flute? Do you know what? Let's get some context on that one. I feel like I've got to go further back to see what's going on with all this. Diana Ross says, MJ, because of the new Supreme Leader. Hang on, I got a cough. Nice. You see, the thing is, MJ 242-X7W. Weird surname, but, it's... I welcome foreigners. You've now, clearly, you have to come back and watch a show next week, because that's going to be a parody song, isn't it? A Supreme-style song about Iran. Okay, I might work on that. Proper Meme says, the new leader celebrated his position, and... Yep. Well, it's the swearsies, and also, did that one not get banned? Normally, most of your comments are. That's the best joke from The Wizard of Oz. What's that, Ems? What was the? I don't remember a lot of jokes in The Wizard of Oz. Is there one about losing legs? He spread pretty thinly, says Martin. Heads down, maybe. And Keir Starmer, a flute and a sense of excrement. Bug. Is that the name of his thing? Vicky saying Peter File. It crowned. What? Oh, is that the name of one of the characters? And Manshake was Steve's uni nickname. Fair enough. Steve clearly hasn't seen the Mad Max films. They depict life after Miliband's successful net zero project. You're right. I clearly have not done sufficient research. My last one was a finger. Maybe I'm due another. 2 fingers. Careful, Kermit. You'll be known as Hi-Ho Kit Kat at this rate. Flouted by a flute. I see what you mean. He's a flautist. He's a flawed man. And that means technically he plays the flute or something. Elon Musk chose that surname. That's a good point. Well made. That's him all over. Oh, is that the thing? When the flying monkeys attack the scarecrow. Beautiful work. Oh, MJ, you've retracted your message. Don't worry. Most of the messages do get filtered out here because of the level of comment that we get. Shall we get stuck into the rest of the meat on the dish? Here we go. Let's get inside the news. I have in my hand some paper. We'll start with this one. Some cuttings from today's newspapers, but we'll do the main theme up top. A hate rally in support of the murderous Iranian regime will still go ahead, despite the Home Secretary approving a ban on the marching. And this is because it's going to be a static protest. They've really got you on the old technicality there. They ban the march, which is both the noun to describe the thing and the verb to march, to walk in that way. Well, if you don't march, is it a march? When is a march not a march? There's also the month. Let's not confuse this. When's it going to take place? On the 14th of... So, they found a way to do the protest without walking in a marching fashion. I think that's the one thing. That's the way of saying it. And good, because the thing that was upsetting me about this, I don't mind people supporting a murderous regime, but the fact they get their steps in while they're doing it, they didn't sit right. Not that they sit. They might sit, actually, on this. This is confusing. We'll move over to another story. In proper memes, a static protest imagines people's hair. Yes, all right, let's not mock the bald. Is dream of World Cup now finished? Iran's participation in this summer's World Cup was in doubt last night. Well, I imagine it flipping well is. Apparently, Donald Trump says he's happy for them to take part. There was a spokesperson from Iran saying they wouldn't do. And you just think to yourself, well, how can you do a World Cup without Iran? Is that the one that's going to... I don't know a lot about football, but I realise you don't often get Iranian finals, do you? That'll show them. There was a statement by this Iranian spokesperson. And I just couldn't believe it. He said, I'm guessing it's a he, because I only read it, but I'm just having a good guess about who gets the top jobs in a regime like Iran, said that they wouldn't be taking part in the World Cup because of the 2 attacks in the last few months that have cost thousands of lives of Iranian people. I thought that's still considerably less than the number of Iranian people's lives that have been cost in the same time period by the Iranian regime. I almost wouldn't bring it up if I was the Iranian regime. Do you know what I mean? How many Iranian citizens have you killed? Seems like a question that's going to come back and bite you in the ass. There we go. It's fun today's show, isn't it? And this one. What have I got going on up here? Let's load this one in. And probably the headline first. Bargain time at tourist hotspot. No, they're not, are they? Adventurous tourists are poised to take advantage of cheap holidays off the back of the war in the Middle East. Despite drone attacks, well, what holiday isn't complete without some drone attacks? On Dubai Airport yesterday, some were hopeful of bagging. Yeah, I imagine the price is quite low. And there's a chance you might lose your luggage, not through normal mishandling, but through it being, blown up and stuff. But also you. Airbnb flats are less than half price at £34 a night. The fact that you can still book them is amazing. But reading through all the different stories that's going to Dubai, it's going to people in the other places in the area. When I first saw this story, I did think to myself, are people going on holiday to Iran to get a cheap deal? You would get a cheap deal, I suppose. It also explains why, when I was flicking through social media, I saw this advert.
Looking for a holiday destination that no longer has a beaten track? Then why not visit Iran? Why go to Abu Dhabi to see the new buildings or Greece to see the ruins when you could visit Iran and see the new ruins? With cities that can be literally breathtaking and return flights as optional extras, a holiday to Iran won't cost you an arm and a leg. Well, it won't cost you a lot of money. Although getting to the airport will be expensive as oil has gone up for some reason. Iran, the holiday of a short lifetime.
And we're back. Some of the comments coming through on this one. M saying a new Kofi target. Are you saying we should raise money to send me to the Middle East? Trying to find a way to think of that as a compliment. It's not coming across as one. Chris Hood, who is this lady mishandling? That's very close to a Rolf Harris joke from his version of Stairway to Heaven. That doesn't get played on radio anymore, does it? Proper memes, the new ruins developed every day. Exactly. I ran and kicked the ball by David Beckham, says Hi-Ho Kermit for some reason. You and your word phobia. Oh, because we're talking about bald. Yeah, stop it with the bald thing. And Non-Stick Nick is here. I had Hannah Spencer round to do some plumbing. Now I have hot flushes. And I don't know why this show hasn't been picked up and put on Channel 5. Being the new Supreme Leader might cost you a leg. Hashtag too soon. In my defense, that story was breaking news at the start of the show, and I very much recorded that sketch an hour beforehand. So some might say it's now bad taste. But it was already bad taste. You're not a salmon. ABT Abta and Atoll Protect. Never mind. Hang on. Oh, it's all moving. All right, so back into some of this news lark. Let's go for, let's go full screen as we zoom in on this bad boy. Starmer signals U-turn on 5p hike. Sir Keir Starmer has opened the door to extending the 5p fuel duty discount beyond autumn. Now, I previously on the show, I did a whole rant about how Rachel Reeves was saying, you're 8p better off. But what she meant was, well, look, we're not mugging you of an extra 8p. And in April, you're going to be to 11p better off, brackets, because we would have been mugging you an extra whatever 11 minus 8 is. No one really knows that one. So I did this big rant. And that was the clip that I made from Tuesday's show. And I put that on social medias, on the X, on the threads, on the Blueski. And now, Sir Keir Starmer backing down. You might say, don't do a correlation versus causation thing here, Steve. Just because two things happen at the same time doesn't mean that they're linked. And I say to you, shh. I'm taking the win. I'm taking the W because the Sun's doing exactly the same. They're saying like their keep it down campaign. Do you mean my rant? Do you mean if I speak on this show, the government listens because they are that out of ideas? Imagine a situation where that actually happens. Meanwhile, in the world of entertainment, Ant and Dec are launching 7 shows, but none of them are on ITV. They've got talent such as Sam Thompson, Scarlett Moffat, and this morning's Sean Welby, Spider-Man star Tom Holland's brother. Takes a dip, that sentence, doesn't it? They're doing stuff on YouTube. Wait a minute. So I start doing stuff on YouTube, and Ant and Dec be like, we need to be on YouTube. That's where all the stars are. And I know what you're thinking, Steve, don't do a correlation versus causation error here. Just because two things happen at the same time don't mean they're linked. And I say to you, shh. Yep. What's that? Same joke twice. Oh, let's do some chat before we get into this one. This is a good one, though. U-turn number. Oh, God, we should have had a counter. I think we were up to 15, weren't we? Is it? I think there might have been more, though. It was... By the time, I think it was 14 or 15 for doing a U-turn about releasing the Mandleson files, the Peter files. Then there was another U-turn, which I jokingly said on TV, this is impressive that they're doing a U-turn. Oh, it was saying that the Chagos deal was on hold, and then they actually said it's not on hold, but there's no date when it's going to be completed, which I described on telly as an impressive U-turn mid-U-turn, because the whole thing might be U-turned, and they managed to do a U-turn within a U-turn. It's like a Mobius U-turn. So that would take us up to 15. There might have been another one, so it might be on 16 now. Good, we need a counter on this one. Ems says, have they travelled the country? I'm not saying it the way you do it. Get it banned. Oh, discount. Instead of higher taxes, we'll tax you a little bit less. That's the thing. I'm just more angry about that lie that it's, I'm more angry at people for believing that lie. Because if it weren't believable, the politicians wouldn't do it. And again, this is never a left-right issue with me. It's always, this is what politicians are doing to screw us over. It's an us and them, not left and right. Don't let people trick you into thinking it's all left and right. These lefties, us and them, mate, not left and right. We're very good M's. What's M's? Oh, no, I'm not reading out M's one. It's a rude word. She's making me try and say Rudy's. And that's on the other channel. Hi-ho, Kermit says 17. You're right. I think we're on 17 U-turns. We will get a thing. I can do technology. We'll get some graphics. Back onto this one. It's really note our finest hour. That's guff. We don't need that headline. It's absolutely bull. How about this? Winston to be ditched for wildlife. This story of a move to replace wartime hero Winston Churchill with wildlife on new £5 notes has been described as totally bonkers. So they're taking Sir Winston Churchill off of the notes, but they're putting wildlife on. What do you think you are, the checkbook from Nat West in the 80s? What? Wildlife? What have they ever done for us? Now, I get that you change people every so often, but it just feels like, look, I wouldn't. I can't even speak today. I obviously go on the telly and moan about these things that one could describe as woke. Half of them, you don't need to care about them. This one, again, no one's using a fiver. It's like, I said this about the king. All of those years of the Queen being on all the notes, eventually the king gets to be king, gets his face put on like a fiver and all the notes, but no one's using notes anymore. Come on, it's all digital. It's like me releasing the vinyl version of the I'm Tired song, by the way, more on that later. But no one's using that format anymore. So the same deal, right? Whoever's on the fiver, you don't really care. The only people who use actual notes these days are cocaine users. So don't worry. But I will say this. There was a list of different animals that they might want to put on, and it includes maybe having a dog. And I thought, wouldn't it be funny if the dog they picked was Churchill from the adverts? That would be a sting in the that would be a good story if there's like a bulldog with the hat on and the cigar. Oh, no. Doing that. Put that on the list of impressions. Britain is a home for multiple impressive apex predators like foxes and badgers. Last night, when I was doing the telly thing with Alex Armstrong, he was teeing up this story, saying Sir Winston Churchill's not going to be on the £5 note. It could be replaced by a beaver. And he just left it there and didn't do the joke. I'm just weird. Joodles, mate, badgers are vicious. Okay. The war continues between those two. M says the Scottish notes have animals on them. The £5 has a fish, but it's not a salmon. There is a theory of the Mobius, a twist in the Labour policies where a decision becomes a loop. The one-dimensional policy, the concept that no one's ever seen in real life, but they might have achieved it. They might have developed Mobius technology. Mobius. I'm aware. I see you. Oh, no, you didn't. You wrote it without the dots, without the diaresis, so I'm not doing it. I know Joodles knows about language. Is the two dots in the Mobius, is it a diaresis or is it something else? Because he was foreign, wasn't he? More on that later. I'll even get the pedantic grammar jingle out if we can find out that one. Let's get into this story. How about this? Bearded lined migrant is 17. A bearded asylum seeker with deep forehead wrinkles is 17 and should be treated as a child. An immigration judge has ruled. Which means Epstein should try and... No, wait, that's not this angle. The Sudanese migrant has been assessed as being 23 to 25, but he's 23. Now, I know it's difficult for you to imagine, isn't it, what a man with a beard who looks old would look like. While you're watching this show, it's difficult to imagine what an old bearded man with wrinkles who is clearly not 17 looks like. So I asked our graphics department to knock up a picture of like an artist impression, and someone's getting fired. An umlaut. Is it an umlaut? It's an umlaut. All right, more on that later. So this guy, apparently 17. No, I like this story because everyone's going, oh, it's absolutely disgraceful. He's going over it or whatever they do. No, this is good because this is the antithesis of the more annoying story. Someone at work gets age checked whilst trying to buy cigarettes, turns up at work and goes, oh, I guess I must look young because they asked for my ID when I was buying that 5th bottle of whiskey this week. Now I'm specifically thinking of someone at BBC Radio Kent who used to do that. But I still found it annoying. I got ID'd. Yeah, all right. Not everyone has not being bald privilege. And yet this tells me that if you look like, here's a picture of a migrant again, if you look like a bald, wrinkly man, there's a picture of a 17-year-old right there. I feel I've seen him somewhere else before. He was clearly not Sudanese, though. Very true. What, this guy? I don't know. It's very difficult to tell if he identifies as such. Hard to know. Chris Hood says wildlife or roadkill. Looks like he's ordering sandwiches. And, the images. It would be great, wouldn't it, to have a picture of a badger at the side of the road. That's the most frequent picture of wildlife I see. Yeah, you're right. I do see the odd fox as I'm driving home at night. But in general, they are by the side of the road. I've learnt about the umlaut. Look at that. Sorry, I did promise you the pedantic grammar, but the original one. We're going back into the folders.
Don't you mean...
An umlaut. Not to be confused with a diaresis, which is the punctuation mark in English, I believe. It's ours. We just don't use it very often to separate out the vowel sounds in a diphthong. This is why the young people tune into this stuff, isn't it? Don't you mean... I don't know what to do with this story. I'm torn. Bacon fries face EU law crunch. A lot of work went into that to achieve nothing, didn't it? There's a picture of what we're talking about there. Bacon bits, scampi, whatever, pot noodle. Meat-flavoured snacks such as bacon fries and chicken and mushroom pot noodle may have to rename under ludicrous EU laws. This is why I voted out. Leave our crisps alone was not at all what happened. Food labelling rules agreed by this is bringing him in. Here we go. Describing products as meaty would be banned unless they contained edible parts of animals. Yeah, I kind of like this. You just put the word flavoured in and everything goes away. But Because this is part 2 of the story when vegan things couldn't be called the meat words. And I like this. Vegan sausage, nah, I think what you mean is like plant-based protein tubes. Because that's what it is, isn't it? The level of processing that goes into something to take a plant protein and genetically modify it in some way, or run it through the lab until it vaguely looks like it's anything to do with meat. Don't give it a natural word like, chop or steak. I think you should have to have the word experiment in there. If it were chicken pot noodles and roast beef Monster Munch, which do not contain any meat, would have to change how they describe them. Yeah, there would now be a meat experiment. Smith's bacon fries, Walker's smoky bacon and roast chicken experiment would have to remove the reference. Well, they wouldn't have to remove it. They'd just have to qualify it. And also, can we just ban scampi-flavoured knickknacks? Would you? Oh, I suppose you would. I was going to say, would you have to rename that given that scampi's not a thing? There are no scampis floating around. It's not an actual animal, is it? I just think scampi-flavoured knickknacks need to go because there's nothing worse than when you're sitting on public transport and you're like, oh, Christ, is someone eating scampi-flavoured knickknacks? And you turn around and no one is. How about this? Brick girls kip failing. British women are the worst sleepers in Europe, a survey has found. Yeah, darn right. From my personal experience. Over the years, I have slept with several women, and they are terrible at it. They don't fall asleep. They are a nightmare. They're always like, oh, let's stay awake, and you're so sexy. Let me touch this. Mate, I'm trying to sleep. It's called sleeping together. Didn't have long relationships with them, but just from my survey, I find that they're always like, let me do this. Let's see what's happening in the chat. Squirrel says, I'm late. What are we on about? I don't know. We tried to do a piece there where I slowly convinced people that I was a player, and I don't think it landed. Which part of a pork is a bacon? Says Martin. Good point. I was asked a very similar question by those women in bed. Ellipsis. No, but they know the ellipsis. They're the 3 dots lower down. 2 dots above, diuresis. I just show my bus pass for ID, says Chris Hood. Okay, and they let you in the country, do they? Sue de Cremise, says Zems. I have no idea why. I love that it's definitely the punchline to a pun. We don't even need any of the setup, do we? It's very much all there. Judel says howling. Some of them did that as well. You're right. Trying to get some kip. You're going to be on the note soon, says Squirrel. That's true. You're going to be featured on the £5 note. Brit girls should play almost daily before bed to get better sleep. Oh, you wound me. You wound me, sir. You've got too much moustache. You can't see that anymore, can you? Damn it. All right, there's too many news stories to get through. Sorry about this. We'll try and get through as many as we can. Here we go. This chap here. Ban from all boots for £55,000 shoplifter. A prolific shoplifter who stole £55,000 of skincare products has been banned from boots. He's 67. Oh, no, he's 22. Oh, well then. Oh, that's not worth it then, is it? I don't like this one. Canines get posh cuisine. Telechef James Martin. People who've got 2 first names. Weird. Anyway, hello, I'm Stephen Allen. James Martin has created a dish with posh guinea fowl and blueberries, especially for dogs. And I love it when people do this because now dogs have a better diet than I do. Thank you, James Martin. You face. Okay. Actually, they say that there's only 4 stories left. Let's do any more. There's nothing else in the chat. We're doing all right, aren't we? What time is it? 39 minutes past. Kidney warning for pills. People are being urged to be cautious about relying on anti-inflammatory pills for pain relief due to their impact on kidney function. Can't flipping win. Non-steroidal tablets such as ibuprofen, naproxen, and can increase blood pressure and damage blood vessels inside the kidneys. This is terrible news because I have definitely reached the age where there is never a day when I don't think to myself, ibuprofen will probably take the edge off this. Even if I don't have anything specifically hurting, just a general sense of my body, I'm like, an ibuprofen would probably help with whatever's going on. Not for the inflammation, just the general pain of existence. So it's about, you can't do that now. Great. Although, can increase blood pressure, and if I've got any problems, it's low blood pressure. I flipping love it. It is the best thing to have. Genetically, I hope I'm passing this on. Just, it's not even dangerously low, it's on the low side, which means salt on my chips whenever I like, and it just bumps me up to normal. I could do an ibuprofen. Just helps me, pump a bit of fluid into these pipes. Squirrel, have I missed War Watch? You didn't. Where's me War Watch jingle? You're right, we should have done... War Watch! War Watch! Oh. Watch.
Oh, hang on. It's over.
Yeah, I need to update that. It's not over. Sorry, Squirrel. Warwich Watch, still going on. When we announced that the war was done last week, I may have been wrong. Don't blame me. Blame Trump. Let's have a look. Hang on. My BP used to be on the low side of normal. 2 halcyon days. Your local petrol station used to be on the low side. And now it's what? It's up to like 144 a litre. I don't know who this Alita is, but I do not like what she's doing to this economy. Ask and she shall receive. No, ye shall receive. Someone's received it. There you go. Squirrel saying thanks, mate. War Watch, always an absolute pleasure. I made the jingle. Might as well use it. Hang on. I'll get smoother at this at some stage. I've not had my energy drink yet either. That's what's missing. Pig out on pork pie sarnie at Tesco. A third of youngsters have never tried a pork pie, so Tesco has stuffed one into a sandwich. Oh, great. I think you could have let that one slide. I don't think what's wrong with the world is, I'll tell you what, these kids these days never had a pork pie. In my day, I would have had a pork pie by now. So they don't know they're born. It's fine to not have a pork pie. There are worse things that Gen Z do, and I talk about that often. Most things that Gen Z do are annoying. The least annoying thing about Gen Zs is not liking the pork pie. More pork pies for me. I don't think they're ready for that jelly. I will say this, though. Young people, if you're watching, and by God, we know there aren't any, but have a pork pie. At your age, you can eat a pork pie, and that's the end of that story. A lovely story that involved eating a pork pie. If I eat a pork pie, the next 3 days, I'm laid low. Sits right there. Do you know what I mean? It's not ready to go. It clings on. There are some burps that are like, oh, why am I burping like this? I had a pork pie 3 days ago. So there you go. Joodle says they've also never had a NatWest checkbook. Nom nom. Yeah. I suppose that joke, I'm glad I didn't get to do that one on telly now. The joke about having wildlife on pound notes is like a NatWest checkbook. Young people wouldn't even know what a checkbook is, let alone get the reference of what's a NatWest checkbook. Did you have the ones with, because it was special, wasn't it? Getting the ones with the actual pictures of wildlife. My sister, my late sister, bless her, but she used to work for NatWest, and I got those. She said, now someone's going to say everyone got them, but she told me everyone gets normal ones, and she'd put on my account I could get the special animal ones. So don't ruin the fact that I think I got special treatment. There's nowhere else in my life that I think I have that. Dragon boat to Cyprus. Yep. Or was that what the image? That's what it is, yeah. And the youngsters are telling porkies. The moustache varies it now. I can't do that. Blankety blank checkbook and pen. The old blankety blank checkbook and pen. Yeah, it's all political voting, you know. It was better when Les Dawson did it, but my Les Dawson is not ready to roll. Lecturer in racist Canada card fail. That headline is very confusing because I don't know if you saw that and you thought someone's trying to play the... You know you can play the racist card. I suppose it's the racism card. Well, you could play both. One of them's a bigger risk. Playing the racism card is like, it's like a Meghan interview. Playing the racist card is... There are other people who do interviews like that. But this is not that. So I don't know why you brought it up. A lecturer sued a university for racism after he received a Canadian-themed greetings card. One presumes he is Canadian. And received a card that was in some way reflective of his origins. And that is now enough. I take back all of the jokes I might have done, Joodles, about you coming from Northern Ireland, just in case. I don't take back any of the ones about Middlesbrough being just a big outdoor prison, because I think that's fine for now. When that changes, I shall apologise. Dr. Gregory Parker at first took no action over the e-card, not even an actual card, an e-card, for containing images that might be typically associated with Canada. Justin Trudeau's blackface? No, just the maple leaf, I imagine. But he claimed he was the victim of race discrimination after he was fired for being confrontational. Yeah, now, who would have thought that story would go out that way? Hang on. A Canadian being confrontational? I don't think you are a Canadian. Solved it. Done that one. And finally, Halt Balti fraudsters. Fair enough. Just a little bit of light news here in the world of food. The Balti could be given special UNESCO status after fears it's under threat from fraud. Campaigners say the dish, invented in Birmingham in the 1970s, is being undermined by cheap imitations. Would that mean that the only place you could have Baltis made would be Birmingham? Therefore, it would be fraud to have any of these literally made anywhere in the Indian subcontinent. Kind of hilarious. The curry is made with chicken or lamb, as long as it's actual chicken or lamb, otherwise you have to call it a meat experiment, in a thick sauce cooked over very high heat and served with a naan bread. Yeah, it feels like, it's got to be more to it than that. Otherwise, they're just very basic things you could put together. There's got to be more. It gets its name from the pressed steel dish that it's cooked in. I thought that was the thing. If it's not done in the weird bowl, then it's not a Balti thing. I went to university in Birmingham, so we bolted. We bolted hard. Right, here we go. Are we doing a Eurovision watch-along? Eurovision watch-along? Okay, there's 2 proper memes and doodles. 2 people wanting it, so that's not enough for me to do it, but maybe. That came out of nowhere, says Ems. What, having a go at... Have you just dropped your phone? I made myself laugh. If you've never watched the show before, I should explain why I found that joke funny. Ems is in prison in Middlesbrough, and we imply that she smuggles a phone in nature's pocket. Therefore, her saying that came out of nowhere makes me think she just coughed. I lost many dishes in the Baltic Triangle. Hey. The ones with the beards and peni. Must be one of the new Canadians. Right, I have no idea don't maybe I think I've got a picture of someone who has both a beard and a penine. Rings a bell. You can't do this though. Neither can I. So, I think we're about done. Oh, we should be... I'm getting very thirsty because I don't have my energy drink to do, but we'll just crack on with this.
Here are the plugs where you can see Steve and Helen all this week.
Get stuck in. So there's actually some things to mention on this one. On Friday, I've been cancelled by the BBC. Words that are true when put in that sentence. If you look at the context. So, I was booked in to be on the Adrian Charles thing. It's only on once a week, and this Friday is a war special. And for some reason, they think a comedian is not the person to turn to when discussing war things. And actually, I've been moved to do one in April. But I've been cancelled by the BBC. Can someone interview me on one of those right-wing podcasts now, please, so I can get some money? Almost daily, live and loose at 12. Why not? I was meant to be on the BBC at 11, but I can be at home now. Then that night, I'm performing stand-up comedy in Sherfield-on-Loddon. And you know, when you're performing in a place that no one's ever heard of before, you know that career's going well. Saturday, I've been cancelled by Times Radio. Just in case I've not been interviewed yet by one of those right-leaning podcasts, because I've been cancelled by the BBC. I've been cancelled by Times Radio. Because they needed someone to do the newspaper review last week, and I was free, so I did it. So there's no point me doing this week and last week. But shush. I have been cancelled by Murdoch's Media and the BBC. Could someone please interview me on one of the... GB News at 11 o'clock that night. Back on with Alex Armstrong. I do like working with him. He's a funny man. And it doesn't take much to get him to do his Starmer or his Trump impression. I enjoy it. And then maybe Monday night. Look, here's maybe, just maybe, here's the dealio. Almost daily after dark. What do you think? I've looked at it, and there is a chance that I am available Monday night at 9 or 9:30 on one of those. The missus is on some sort of trip elsewhere. The kids will be in bed by then. If you're available, we could do a 9 or 9:30. I'll just have to be in here with the kids on the webcam monitor. If they wake up, I run indoors. Are you up for that? Are you up for that? Should we do it? Should we do it? Yep. Right, let's play this bad boy out. Plug's Earworm. It's a good tune, isn't it? I'll try to be more punctual next time. Squirrel, it's only just acceptable. Back on the BBC, though. Who's back on the BBC? What, me? I mean, in April. But shush, until then, I've been cancelled by the BBC and cancelled by Times Radio. And also, I think I've cancelled the milk as well. Does that help? Because we've got too much coming in. We don't need as many next week. Badges of Honours, Steve. Exactly. I've been cancelled because of because of the war, because of the Iranian war, not the Times thing. Something like that. AD sounds good. Almost daily after dark. AD. Jules is up for it. Martin's up for it. Sorry, dancing on Monday evening, says Chris Hood. Okay. Well, if you've got restless leg syndrome, that's up to you. Okay, well, I think we might get away with it. We've done one late night one before. Ems says, a bit of benign neglect of the children is fine if we get a late show. No, but I've got, honestly, you know how much of a nerd I am. I've got so many cameras. I could do a version of the Big Brother house. I don't show you this screen of the computers. You get to see stuff over there. The one you're not allowed to see is this one, because the garden just outside this shed is covered by 3 different cameras. Because why not? So, yeah. Sorry, I was swept away. Back now. Well, you've missed it. Should we do the whole thing right from the start? Charlotte's back. Peter Mandleson. It's like in a film where Starmer was saying, if this all goes wrong, the British government will declare, or something like that. You missed it. I think it's probably still available on YouTube. Yes. And if any of them wake up, you'll hear them just go, well, if you hear my daughter wake up, she just shouts for daddy, because she knows. Come on. She knows which side the bread is buttered on. Come on. Plus, also, I'll be the only one around. So we might do that. We'll look into that. But before we get there, Thursday. Is today Thursday? Tomorrow, almost daily. That was a shock, wasn't it? We'll do the live and loose with piano work. Also, I will be trying to do this song. See if you recognise this. Hang on. This one. That's the start of it. And I'm working on my impression of the person who sung a version of it. Because I would need to add more to this spreadsheet of impressions you get on this show. Where's the Ayatollah's leg? Says Martin. Well, don't blame me. I haven't got it. nudes getting censored like crazy again. Well, you write in the word nudes, basically, and look what's happening. And what's this late show thing? I was thinking Monday night at 9. We might try and do one if you're up for that. After Dark requires 3 top buttons unbuttoned on the shirt. 1. No, this one counts as 1. 1, 2. Sir. It's Friday the 13th tomorrow. Are we having a horror theme? Every flipping day at the moment's a horror theme. Have you not noticed life? I may have a tantrum. I've often wondered what is the plural of tantrums. I don't think it's what you think it is. It would be a very different mood, wouldn't it? And steady PM, says Joodles. Yep. And, oh no, I'm going to Amsterdam on Monday. Well, flipping point of this. Trying to plan things here. Do they have the internet in Amsterdam? Don't go to Amsterdam and just watch this show. That would be a waste of a chance, wouldn't it? So I think we're fully up to date. Before we go, I should say this. On the last show, I did the song about singing and forgot to play out with it. So if you're up for it, we'll play out with that today. It could be a waste of 3 minutes of your life because you've already seen it. But you know what? If you spend the time writing these damn things, you might as well play them out. Charlotte says, Chris Hood says tantra. Exactly. Do you know what I mean? The plural of tantrum should be tantra. Sting would be known for a very different way of doing stuff. I want it now. It's probably actually what happens in both. Have a fab time in Amsterdam, says Joodles. Yes, enjoy the 2 things Amsterdam are famous for. Do both. Why not? Have fun. Yeah, everyone's saying that no proper means is wrong. The plural of tantrum is tantric. No. I think the plural of tantric would be tantrasees. No, hang on, that's wrong. So I think we're all up to date. I'll play out on the song from last time, and is it loaded in here? It's not loaded in. I'll have to do it manually. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I remind you that some people commented that I couldn't sing, and to this I say... I'm singing. I hope that you appreciate it. It's the best that I can do. I'm singing. I call it singing. I hope that you will call it singing too. When I try to hit a note, I'm flat or I am sharp. I have the kind of singing voice they call a vocal fart. I open up my mouth and do my best to hit the notes, but you get a sound like what I found's a nodule on my throat. I'm singing with a kind of noise that might escape at night from a local zoo. I'm singing, I call it singing. I hope that you will call it singing too. You're yelping like I'm not helping, but it's not like I would sound like this if I really had a choice. Lately, health and safety have printed warning labels for my voice. When I try to hit the note, I'm sharp or I am flat. I worry local dogs and I have terrified the cat. It's not the kind of voice that you would hear in music halls. It's like I've sat down and then I found I'm sitting on my balls. I'm singing, yes I'm singing. I know it might not sound that way to you. I'm singing, I call it singing. I hope that you will call it singing too.
I can't believe that my friend Steve thinks that he can sing, ignoring all the trauma that his vocal cords can bring. I've listened to his songs and they don't sound that hot to me. I think it's bad and I've just had a truckie up to me.
Ouch! I'm singing. I fear the Trace Description Act, there's a chance that you might sue. I'm singing, I call it singing. I hope that you will call it singing too. It doesn't sound this bad when I am singing in the bath, but I'm at home so I'm alone, there's no one there to laugh. When singing in the local pool, and here's what I have found.
Anyone that didn't run willingly self-drowned. Singing, I'm singing, but it sounds more like I'm struggling with the pointy poo. I'm singing, I call it singing. And I've got to ask a favor of you. Just pretend it's singing too.
Hang on, that drawing looked like me.